So really speaking, Mr. Solicitor, the material before the governor was only three things. One, the resolution by 34 MLAs that any change in the leadership of the House is not warranted, that therefore they continue to have reaffirmed that the leadership will be with Eknath Shinde, not with Chaudhary or Gogaole. One. Two, the letters by 47 MLAs about the threat to their security.
For converting minority into majority.
And the third, the letter of the leader of the opposition.
Yes.
That 39 MLAs of the Shiv Sena want to exit the alliance with the BJP, with the INC and the NCP.
Yes, and saying
essentially all this correspondence boils down to three aspects, three things basically: independent MLAs
and the resolutions passed
and the 34 MLAs.
Resolutions passed by them respectively. Letter is accompanied by resolutions to show that this is not happening for any other reason. This is happening because the Chief Minister has lost majority and he wants to convert his minority. That's the only thing, my lord, in my respectful submission, the governor is supposed to see. That in fact, he appears to have been reduced into minority, but he can go to the floor of the House. That's the ultimate.
Ultimately, it boils down to this. Suppose there is a policy difference between a group of MLAs within a party.
Yes.
It was on the alliance with the NCP and the INC. Suppose there is a policy difference on whatever aspect, spending funds for a backward region in the state. We don't want this to be done.
Several, yes, sir.
The difference of the MLAs can be on a variety of things. There's the policy difference of a group of MLAs within a party, because governor also says they also don't say that look, we are leaving the party, because if there's a moment they say, because governor also says they also don't say that look, we are leaving the party, because if there's a moment they say that they are incur the 10th schedule. Can the governor merely on that basis say, now I'm of the view that you must prove your trust vote in the, you must go to a floor?
I'll answer that, my lord. But that, my lord, I would better answer after showing the law on the point, because my lord, the answer is this, immediate answer is this. The reasons for the dissatisfaction or reasons based upon which the sitting chief minister has lost majority is not the consideration for the governor. That can be a ground for disqualifying them, taking any other action within the party fold, etc. The governor is supposed to only understand, no, my lord, and that's what the law, your lordships have laid down, whether he has lost majority support or not. Whether
two different things, you see. One is whether the governor has material to indicate that, well, that the existing government has lost majority on the floor of the House. Equally, the governor must be conscious of the fact that his very calling for a trust vote may lead to a precipitate loss of majority for the government, because calling for a trust vote may itself be a circumstance which will lead to the toppling of the government.
My lord, I don't think, my lord, no. Profound respect, my lord, as I understand, the governor, my lord, cannot take that call.
Governors should not really lend their office for effectuating a particular result.
Lord, kindly see, my lord, kindly examine it.
Lord, leader of the opposition writes. Leader of the opposition.
The difficulty is, Lord, my other
leader of the opposition's letter is irrelevant, according to me. The leader of the opposition will always write to the governor, look, these people are acting contrary to the constitution, that their policies are anti-people. That is no ground for the governor to act. The independent MLAs who said, or the MLAs who said, my security is under threat, this was not a report under Article 356. He was not saying that the government of the state cannot be carried on in accordance with the dictates.
That's going to be my submission.
So the threat to security cannot be a ground for calling for a trust vote. So both those are out of reckoning. The only thing which survives is the impact of the 34. Because
may I answer that? May I answer?
34 is something which is because 34 in a party which has 55 MLAs. So
Lord, may I answer that? Lord, first of all, the parameters for Article 356 are different, and 174
is what the governor's letter may indicate is that he was of the view that there was a certain dissension within the party on whether to continue with the alliance with the Indian National Congress and the NCP, right? Can that be a ground for the governor to say you call for a trust vote?
Kindly, allow me to answer. The governor...
Then you are virtually breaking a party.
The difficulty is, I'm answering this question before my legal submissions are over, because most of your Lordship's questions can only be answered from my legal submissions, which are yet to follow. But my immediate answer is this.
You see, looking at it in hindsight, in hindsight, they had lost the mathematical equation. They had lost. It was very obvious that when 34, and that's why, as Mr. Jetlani said yesterday, they were not willing to disqualify all the 39, because they also realized the moment you disqualify 39, then it redounds to their disadvantage. So they were trying to disqualify the 16, so that you give a threat to the other 23 that look, you will also suffer the same fate. All right. They also knew that they were likely to lose the plot, but we are now on the governor's powers. We're not so much on the mathematics. And okay, now at the end of it, it's very obvious that they had lost the numbers game. But equally, what is a very serious concern is that governor should not enter into this any area by which their action will in fact precipitate the fall of a government.
That is where I would very earnestly and respectfully differ constitutionally, and I'll answer.
Stand away and say that, look.
Can I, before your Lordship concludes on this point, would your Lordship allow me to place the law on the point? Because law, as I have understood, subject to your Lordship's final approval, may not support this conclusion. If there is a dissatisfaction, the governor's responsibility is to ensure that the stable government is there and government functions in a stable way. If somebody goes and says that there is a party dissatisfaction inter se, may not be a ground for the governor, possibly, to call for a trust vote.
Suppose there is a political party. MLAs of a political party feel that our leader is not true to our ideology, that our leader is not carrying out the basic ideological premise of our party. Take it. Forget Uddhav Thackeray, forget Shiv Sena for a moment. They have their remedies. They can always say that we'll vote our leader out. We believe that our leader does not pursue the ethos of our party. They can always vote the leader out in a party forum. But can the governor say that because there is a dissension about a certain aspect of the leadership, therefore I'll ask them to now prove that it's a government which has been formed. It is a government which has established its majority on the floor of the House. It's a government which is a functioning government. And, these and we are now not at the inception where you have to ask for a trust vote. I'm not saying that there is an absence of power in the governor. There is, of course, there's a power in the governor even after a government is formed, because a variety of things may happen which will lead the governor to say, no, prove your trust on the floor of the House. But what is really the problem here is that governors, in exercising that power, may actually precipitate the fall of the government. And that is something which is very, very serious for our democracy.
May I? I'm running against time, but your Lordship would accommodate me, obviously. I'm on the first point right now. Let's one.
And this is irrespective of their numbers. There is no doubt about it that they lost the numbers at that point of time. But
I'm answering as a proposition of law. Kindly allow me to at least answer this. I have understood your Lordship's concern on the constitutional proposition which is canvassed by a party which has otherwise lost the majority support, as the figure suggests.
And all this hyperbole that you'll have 40 corpses and all, the Maharashtra, it's not some it's a very highly cultured, developed state. I mean, things are said in politics. Sometimes things are said which are inappropriate. They should never be said. As we said just the other day, Mr. Metha, that we said to Dr. Singhvi in a matter where he was appearing that there has to be some level of constitutional discourse and dialogue, which is unfortunately going down in our country. So we are not condoning it. We are not at all condoning it.
Please don't, this amounts to condone.
No, we are not condoning it. In fact, we have expressed the most serious concern about where it's like, in fact, in one of our orders, just Narasimha and I say it's like a race to the bottom. But that is different. I mean, we are not condoning it at all. We are deeply concerned with it as a constitutional court. But equally, we have to also say that what about the governors? They must exercise these powers with the greatest circumspection, and
your Lordships consider differing this view till my.
Okay. We'll see the judgments, of course.
Yes. Lord, kindly allow me to answer at the outset. I'll show the judgments. Lord, whenever the governor's prime responsibility is that a stable government continues, number one. Kindly allow me to complete. Number two, the democratically elected leader should not only enjoy the confidence of the House when the government is formed, he should continue to enjoy the confidence of the House throughout the tenure. And that's going to be my another limb of submission when I examine what the governor's power in facts of the case is concerned. Otherwise, there would not be any accountability on the leader so far as his constituent electorate is concerned. He can say that now I am elected to hell with you. I will not concern. I am not concerned. Allow me to.
Mr. Solicitor, the monsoon session was coming. This was all happening in the third week of June, the last week of June.
Can I complete?
The monsoon session of the State Legislative Assembly was going to take place when you will place supplementary demands. That's the surest test. If they have to seek the vote of the House on passing legislation, on supplementary demands, one aspect of a revenue measure, and if the government does not get a vote, they're out.
Well, I will show the judgments. Well, the judgments
of the monsoon session which was going to take place.
Well, I'll have to read some judgments also, my lord, and therefore I would earnestly request your lordships to defer this tentative conclusion.
This is not a conclusion at all. This is a concern which we are.
Another thing.
We may eventually accept your submission, and we will equally put your argument to Mr. Silva.
No, I understand. I'm fully conscious. I'm confident and
quality. What is happening is
my worry is difficult. My worry is different.
Ultimately, whoever fails, whoever succeeds is a separate issue. But
my worry is different. My worry is different, and I'll put it first. Thereafter, I'll answer that question at the outset and elaborate. But what was said was not just an inappropriate statement which the governor could have ignored. It was a threat that you will be brought dead and sent to postmortem. That the house is being... Please don't condone it. Inadvertent.
He wrote to Mr. Limay, who was the additional chief secretary, provide security. This by itself will not justify the governor in calling a trust vote. Never. That's what our judgments have repeatedly said.
No, your lordships have said otherwise in Shivraj Singh Chauhan.
The fact that the conduct of a government has gone against the core ideology of that party can never call for a trust vote. Now, what then is in that letter? What then comes in the resolution? Two things. That we reaffirm that Eknath Sambhajirao Shinde, who was elected as the leader of the party, continues to be the leader. And two, that we reaffirm that Gogole is elected as the chief whip. Two things. The first part of the resolution has no bearing on a trust vote at all. The first part of it only reflects on the fact that there is grave disquiet among these people that, well, you militated against our pre-poll allowance and the core ideology of the Shiv Sena. That's alien to the governor because they've formed government already. Second, what do? They merely reiterate that Eknath Shinde continues to be the leader of the party in the legislative party. How is this a justification for a trust vote?
This is signed by 41 MLAs. My lord, the difficulty is, my lord, we are trying to examine and analyze the justification given by 34 or 39, whether it could have been a justification for floor test. For governor, he has to only examine that, but for this 39, the government would fall. I would rather go for the floor test.
In which case, he is now saying, assuming... No, but you are right. You are absolutely right. You are spot on. There is no difficulty about it at all. Therefore, what the governor is saying is, but for these 39, as you rightly say, the government will fall. Can he look into the fact that but for these 39, the government will fall when exclusion of these 39 is postulated on the speaker passing an order for their disqualification under the 10th schedule. Until that order is passed, he cannot presume that they are going to be.
He is not.
It's a preemptory move.
Lord, I think we are...
To say that we remain part of that.
Exactly.
We are not parting company.
My lords are saying the same. My lords,
they say that we continue to be in the Shiv Sena.
Correct, my lord. But still, we don't support
continue to be in the Shiv Sena. Then how do you call for a trust vote?
Or what is the apprehension that the government
trust vote is not against Shiv Sena. Trust vote is against the government, against the chief minister.